Do you think, Amy, that these numbers we're going to see tomorrow are really going to move this election one way or another? Is it going to move voters?
You know what? I think they will reinforce pre-existing, conceptions about the economy. I don't think that. I think these numbers are a bit too abstract, and it really does come down to kitchen table economic issues. And is your kid getting a job? You just graduated from college, you spent a whole lot of money, and they're still sitting in your basement, playing Xbox. But what is politically fascinating is this Ohio sort of quandary for Mitt Romney, that Mitt Romney's message has been stepping on the message of John Kasich, the Republican governor of Ohio. He says Ohio's coming back. So then how does Mitt Romney take advantage of that? He hasn't done that very well.
It's the same problem in Virginia.
And President Obama has been very successful hammering Mitt Romney over the auto bailout and taking credit for Ohio's resurgence and success.
Well, and I wonder for President Obama, is an economy that is adding jobs, an economy that is perceived to be getting better, is that enough? Or do you have to do better than just adding jobs and just getting better? Because historically, we rebound from every recession. This is a chart that our viewers should become familiar with because we've used several times, but this is a chart of unemployment after every recession since World War II. And among the spaghetti strings that we always reference on this chart, you can see every recession since World War II. Well, the yellow line at the bottom, that's this one. That's the one that's the deepest and longest and slowest recovery since World War II. So the question, Anthony, is President Obama held accountable for the slowest recovery since World War II, or rewarded for, we're having a recovery?
I think it's ultimately the latter, because it's all relative to whatever you see. Why are things getting better? In Ohio, you can't really compare that to another state because Ohio got it worse than, say, Texas did. Florida got it worse than North Dakota did. So comparing state to state, people might feel like it's getting better because it was so bad in the first place. And if you want to look at what has Obama done, well, who really remembers 1980? Or 2001. I mean, we remember that time, but what we mostly remember in terms of employment is yesterday, last week.
Well, we remember Obamacare, and we remember President Obama's reaction to this recession.
Months and years ago, not to decades.
Oh, I don't know.
He made promises too. He made, and this is where Romney, I think, hit his stride in some of the debates. Obama promised unemployment to be at a certain rate. If we spend the money, we spent the money, $5 trillion. Unemployment is much higher than it was promised to be. And again, it comes down to at the national level. The narrative is Barack Obama saved us from annihilation, essentially saved us from the end of the world. That's really what they're peddling. They're saying that if he didn't do what he did, well, the entire economy would collapse. That's not compelling stuff for another 4 years. But at the state-to-state level, this is where I get worried, especially as we're going to the election in places like Ohio, Virginia. If it looks good there, that may be enough to win those states that he needs to win.
Well, it comes down to the simple question of right track, wrong track. Are we on the right track or are we on the wrong track? And voters will be weighing that decision when they get to the polls. And who has the best plan to keep us on track? And that's what this whole campaign was about.
Well, there we go. So answer this question for me, a question that Mitt Romney seems a little reluctant to provide specifics on, is what would he do to accelerate this recovery, right? So what is he giving voters to say, okay, I'm going to do this. This is what I will do to make this recovery better. Can we answer that for Mitt Romney?
He promises more of the same.
The size of government.
But that's not going to help
Add
the economy over the next 1 to 2 years.
I thought we were talking about Obama, sorry.
You were talking about Obama.
I thought I was talking about Obama, sorry.
About Romney. I don't think either answer is very good, by the way. But,
you asked Amy if these numbers tomorrow are going to matter.
Yeah.
And I actually think they really will. Maybe not for the specific of the number, but for that overall feeling that we were talking about. I've described this race as like a NASCAR race. Maybe Jimmy Johnson's leading at the 20th lap, and you get points for leading a lap, and then maybe Jeff Gordon's leading around the 100th lap. But all Tony Stewart has to do is win the last lap. He only has to lead one to actually take home the championship.
And if it's 7.9, they say that it's gotten better.
Exactly.
That's all you hear.
And if this last moment is a good one for Obama and reinforces, like Amy was saying, the narrative that things are getting better and he's taking care of us, he's got it. If that last number
and it's good for enthusiasm.
Hopefully people realize 7.9 is still really bad.
It's really ominous.
It doesn't matter.
Supporters will feel good.
I think they'll say,
that doesn't matter.
we've had enough and let's give this Romney guy a shot.